Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all of you to the episode number 1 of the podcast session by the Food for All Kadamandiya Food Bank, Ask from the Experts. As you have been with us for more than 1.5 years with Kadamandiya Food Bank, I know that you know about the process of Kadamandiya Food Bank, the objective of ours. But as the moderator, it's my responsibility to explain you something about this podcast series, Ask from the Experts. Ladies and gentlemen, Kadamandiya Food Bank, Food for All Kadamandiya Food Bank, basically targeting 2 sustainable development goals. Goal number 2, zero hunger, and goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. All the aspects related to these 2 goals are covered by the Kadamandiya Food Bank in their process. Actually, throughout 1.5 years, we have now working with different aspects. So today, our topic is going to be, in this podcast session, Ask from the Experts, it's going to be to become a leader. When it comes to the leadership, the name AIESEC is at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, as the world's largest youth-run organization, AIESEC plays a major role in developing young leaders for the planet. In this process, we thought of inviting the president-elect for the year of 2021, AIESEC in Sri Lanka, Mr. Banuka Hathurusinghe, for the today's session of the episode number 1 podcast series by Food for All Kadamandiya Food Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of you, we welcome Mr. Banuka Hathurusinghe to the show. Mr. Banuka, we welcome you to the show, and it's really an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Theekahana. It's a pleasure meeting you as well.
Okay, before jumping onto the series of questions and the topic of to become a leader, I would like to know something about your career, about your schooling era, about your childhood, and about your university life. A glance on your career.
So I talking about my schooling days. I started my primary education in one of the schools in my village, which is Mihindu Model School, and then I have for the secondary education I have go to St. Thomas's College, Mathura, and then I have selected for the University of Colombo, and like one of the biggest dreams of mine to go to University of Colombo. So I got it achieved, and then I have did my bachelor's in the field of information systems. So that's basically about myself, and then I have did my internship in London Stock Exchange Technology, one of the reputed companies in Sri Lanka as well as in the world. And while I was there in the university, I engaged with this organization called AIESEC. So I started my journey as a member, and then promoted myself as a team leader, and then the vice president, and then straight away applied for the national body of AIESEC in Sri Lanka. So there, as well as I have held the position of the vice president, and now I'm the elect president of AIESEC in Sri Lanka as well. Yeah.
Okay. Achieving goals, it's really inspiring. As the first question of the series of questions in the topic of to become a leader, I would like to know from you, in accordance yourself, what does it mean by leadership? Do you have any role models to follow? Any character who was continuously inspiring you to become a leader? I would like to know, in accordance yourself, what does it mean by leadership?
Okay, so leadership to me, I have read about this article. It's about leadership. Like there's this concept called three-dimensional model of leadership. Like if you take the word leadership, there are 3 concepts, 3 dimensions inside this word. The first part is lead, if you take the first 4 words, and then if you add 2 more letters, which is leaders, and then the whole concept is leadership. So basically, if we are having a vision to go to some particular goal, so that where we are leading, and to go to that particular position, we need a leader. And leadership is the act that we are contributing to achieve that particular vision, to achieve that shared vision of ours. So leadership, we can, it's very subjective. Like we can describe it in our own way, but I mainly think in that way, like we need to have a common vision, and we are striving towards that particular vision. And in that particular journey, you will face lots of obstacles, and how to tackle these obstacles, how to face with the right attitude and to make right decisions. So that's all about leadership. And in this particular journey, there will be certain leaders come up and work. So that like their attitudes, their decision making skills, their vision, it's also affect for this act of journey. So it's a mixture of everything. And if you are having the right vision, if you are having the right particular goal and methods that you are willing to achieve that particular goal, then your leadership journey will be very good. And talking about the second point about my role models, yes, I have like several role models, like starting from my parents, like every person that I'm interacting with, I try to grab something out of them, because every person is different. So we have something to learn from each and everyone. Talking specifically about one of the role models, I would really love to mention Mr. Tony Veerasinghe, the founder of Millennium IT in Sri Lanka. And the journey of him, it was fascinating, and the effort, the courage that he had was amazing. And there are plenty of other leaders as well, but I would really admire Tony Veerasinghe.
Really, it's a very important point, because you told that you're grabbing something from everyone, and everyone is different. Then it's really important, I believe. So let's move on to the other question. Then the next question, actually, can you briefly explain how did you grow as a leader in your career? How did you grow as a leader? And our audience will be really fascinating to see some key milestones in your leadership journey.
Yes, like the thing that I'm believing is we all are leaders, but first we need to investigate ourselves. So the self-awareness part should have to be there. So when I was schooling, I was interact with different leadership roles. But to be honest, like the leadership role that I'm involved in, I haven't discovered it as much. Like the self-awareness was not there. Like I have did that particular role, but no, self-discovering or self-awareness about that. But soon after I joined with AIESEC, I realized that right now I have to stop these fancy things. I have to focus on this. And then I have realized, like, I have these leadership qualities in myself, but I need to develop on certain aspect as well. So in AIESEC also you can find out leadership development model. In there, actually, we are categorized under 4 leadership qualities. So through that, actually, we can understand what leadership qualities we are lacking, and what are the qualities that we are having at our, in the topmost level. So identifying those things, I have realized, like, yes, there's some sort of exposure for me towards leadership. So first of all, talking about my journey, back in school days, actually, I was in my primary school, I was there as a prefect, and then in my higher studies, higher studies in the schooling, I was there in this Model United Nations Club, and I was act as the Deputy Secretary General. And then coming to university, actually, I was in the AIESEC for more than 3 years now, and starting from the very bottom level, like a member, then converting into a team leader of University of Colombo, and then Vice President of University of Colombo, and then straight away applied for the national body of AIESEC Sri Lanka, and have elected as the Vice President of AIESEC in Sri Lanka. Then now in the journey of the president. So it's all about developing yourself. Like the main key learning that I've got was like each and every role will give you something, but what you have to do is you have to grab that, and you have to get, like, understand what this role is giving to yourself as well as for the others. So if you are analyzing that part, then it will be very easy, and you have your own vision, and then you can strive towards the path you want. Yeah.
Okay. Then the next question is really about a practical situation. I mean, about most of the young leaders today. As I know, many young leaders by themselves, they are trying their level best to be solution oriented. So should a particular person be solution oriented as a leader? I would like to know it from the perspective of a leader.
Yes, I think it's one of, I have mentioned previously as well, there are 4 qualities in AIESEC leadership development model. Solution oriented is one of the qualities. So I believe personally, being solution oriented is a critical factor, especially in the current context. I'll tell you an example, like a small story. Imagine we are having this problem and we need to figure out a solution for that. But the beauty of it is each and every one of us are approaching in a different way. We are trying to find solutions in a different way to tackle that particular problem. So to find solutions for a particular problem, we need to have our own perspectives. But to have our own perspectives, we need to have some awareness about it, which means awareness about the problem, awareness about everything. But more importantly, on top of all, awareness about yourself is critical. To provide a solution, you need to aware about your strengths, strengths in what are the capabilities of yours and the strength of yours. So once you identify yourself, which means self-awareness, then it's very easy to create solutions. So talking about solution-oriented, with the current context, with this pandemic happening, you can see the drastic changes happening around the Sri Lanka as well as the globe. So how quickly we are adapting to this particular environment is the takeaway that we are having. But in future, it will be very tough. But if you are not adapting, if you are not providing solutions for our future work, then that will going to be double. So the things like, for an example, we used to learn back in the university with the physical presence, but soon after the pandemic hits, we shifted to the virtual learning system. So if we are not solution oriented on there, we thought, okay, this pandemic will over in another 2 months, so we will give vacations for the students for 2 months. And then if we think on that aspect, the traditional aspect, then we won't be able to develop. So tackling a solution, being solution oriented is critically important, especially in the upcoming eras as well.
Right. Actually, the next question is also linked with the previous question. So, and now you are the president-elect AIESEC in Sri Lanka, member committee president. So, as a leader, what are the methods that you use to develop solution-oriented skills among your members?
The first thing is actually, like I mentioned before, we need to identify ourselves. So the self-awareness should have to be improved. So by having that confidence within you, then it will be not a difficult task for you guys to make solutions. But what we are trying to do is if we are going to systematic way, it's critically important when we are planning something, we need to have a backup plan as well, like contingency plan and also a risk management plan. So if something going wrong, imagine we are planning on a certain event, and if something going wrong, if it is deviating from the plan, so the risk management as well as the contingency plans would help you to align with your objective. So that would be a critical aspect, and other things like providing quick solutions and providing quick decisions. It's also coming from the nature. It's coming from your experiences maybe, but to do that you need to have your own confidence. To have your own confidence, you need to aware about the situations, you need to aware about yourself. So that's the fundamental that I'm believing, being self-aware, and then you can provide solutions very easily.
Okay. I believe the next three questions are going to be really important as we are now in a pandemic. You mentioned actually some facts about this pandemic in the previous questions as well in your answers. The next questions are really important for a situation like this, what we are facing today. So what I'm going to ask is, when the situations are really uncertain, I mean, when our plans are not going to work, I mean, with the real world situation, if our plans are not going to work, then how do you face those situations? That's my question.
Okay, so I'll take a practical example for this question. Talking about AIESEC, and back then, actually, what we used to do is we are trying to develop leadership within youth. But how we are going to do it? We are doing cross-cultural exchanges. We are providing internships for the youth, as well as we are providing volunteer opportunities for the youth. So, and we are doing these cross-cultural exchanges in between countries. So that's the basic thing that we can do. But soon after pandemic hit, we couldn't able to do the exchanges because of the border closures. So with that, we need to find out our alternative solutions. So, which means our basic operations have now it's not operating. Now we need to find our alternative solutions. So when back then when we are planning, there was no pandemic, so it was very smooth. Like we thought, like we can do a lot of operations based on the number of exchanges and the number of leaders that we can create through these programs. We thought it was very clear. But then soon after, in the middle period of time, the pandemic hits. And because of that, actually, we have to change our plannings. We have to, we have to go with a different approach. So in the initial stage, we have categorized our planning into scenarios, like having an understanding on certain scenarios. It also will help you, like the worst possible scenario, the best case scenario, as well as some middle grounds as well. So identifying those scenarios and plan according to these. It's also a part of the contingency plan and also risk management plan. It's very important. Like if you are processing towards a certain process, and if it is not working, then what would be the additional options that you can take in order to mitigate the risk, like the implications that might cause through a pause of our own process might be very tough for the organization. So for that, you need to tackle it in a right way. So for that, risk management plan should have to be there. And also, tracking our progress towards the vision, towards the goal is very important. Like what we have to do is we have to, always stick to the plan, initial plan. And if there is, for an instance, I can say, like initially when we are doing the planning, there was no COVID, but then soon after we operate the things, the COVID happened. So in that case, we need to, restructure our planning. So you have to be very smart. You have to restructure your planning based on the external environment as well. Like there are two factors that you have to consider about your internal environment as well as your external environments. So if the things are changing inside your organization or within yourself, which means in the internal context, you can control those things. So which means you can always align with your original plan. But if the things are moving away from your reach, which means the external context is changing rapidly, then you have to find out solutions for that, like quick solutions. That's why solution oriented is very critical for that. So having these set of plans and how to review the plans, how to monitor this, and having backup plans, it's very important. And at the end, what we want to do is to achieve our goal. And obviously, the goal might not be completed sometimes, but that's not a problem. What you have to do is the approach that you are taking, and through that, you can learn a lot of things.
Okay. Sometimes I feel something like this because in the real world situation, if the real world situation, if the things are demotivating a particular person to achieve his or her goals. So what are the options? What can we do to motivate ourselves to achieve those goals in a situation like this when the things are not as we expected?
Yeah, that's a very good question. This happens very, very oftenly. Like when we are achieving something, like there are tons of obstacles are coming. So you need to understand first that the achievement of your goals are not going to be very pretty and fancy. It's going to be tough, but you need to have your own courage. But obviously, when you're handling a team, sometimes the team get demotivated. Sometimes team might, drop out from the course. So in that case, actually, it's very important to identify their personal development plans as well. Like we are simply calling it as a PDP. So if we are aligning our work with their personal objectives as well, then that personal intentions to achieve that particular goal is there. So that would be advantage. The other thing is we have to give the recognition for the hard work that they are doing, and we have to appreciate them all the time. And if they are doing something not in the perfect way, then we have to give them the instructions how to do it in, like we have to guide them as a leader, and also rewarding our membership or the teammates. It's very important. Like if they are achieving something, then if we can give some reward for them, maybe through a party or something, very 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 simple case, it will be a good thing, like for their mental aspect. But again, what is on top of all, the most important thing is they need to see a growth in themselves. If not, they will leave the course. So providing them the platform to develop themselves is critically important. So that's what the leader should focus on, because the team will drive you. The team will get you to the vision that you want. At the same time, the leader needs to look after their team and to give the platform the background support that the team needs, the motivation, the inspiration, and all the facilities that the team is expecting from that particular person. So that would be my answer.
Okay. I believe the next question is really important for the current world situation, because the situation now is not like a decade ago. The skills that a particular person need to achieve his or her goals, and also the skills that may be needed for a particular leadership may be different. It should be different to face the current world situation, the real world situation. It should be different. So under these conditions, and even in this pandemic, what are the skills which may be needed for a good leadership, as you believe?
I think adaptability should be there, because we don't know. Like to be honest, I don't know what will happen in another period of 1 year period of time. So whatever coming to our way, we need to adapt. So the adaptability should be there, and also you have to be very innovative. Like you have mentioned also, like providing solutions is key to tackle problems. So for that, you need to have an innovative mindset. By having an innovative mindset, you can always gain the competitive advantage over others. So in that case, being innovative is key. And also, you need to be some sort of an analyst, like to analyze the factors and to make the right decisions. Like it is not important always to make the right decisions, but if you have the facilities to make decision based on the analysis that you're having, based on the data that you're having, then that would be perfect, rather than making decisions based on our intuitions. And the other thing is we are moving to a different concept of era. Like Sri Lanka recently, in 2020, Sri Lanka started their digital revolution. It was supposed to start in year 2023, but with the pandemic, the digital revolution started on 2020. So with that, if you don't have digital capabilities as a youth, as a person, then the opportunities available in the country, within the country, might be less. So you have to think on that aspect as well. Another thing is the Generation Z is also coming to the act, and now they are, dealing with us. So in that case, we have to be mindful as well. How we need to, like there's a generation gap, obviously. The Generation Z will think in a different way. The millennials will think in a different way. So this thinking patterns of the generations, we have to bridge those things. So identifications of their qualities as well as for the millennials, it is also very important. Like it's again coming under the topic adaptability. So I think those things are very critical at the top. And also at the top, I would say you need to have your own confidence, which means you need to have some sort of leadership skills. Because even if you take the corporate world now, even for the associate level positions also, they are asking for some sort of leadership experiences. So that would be a factor. That would be a factor for the youth to engage in future as well. I think those are the key things that we need to focus on.
They are the key things, but it's not predictable, as you told at the beginning of the question. So very important session, I believe, we had under the topic of to become a leader, under the topic of our podcast series by Food for All Kadamandiya Food Bank. So we are really honored to have you here, Mr. Banuka Hathurusinghe, the President-elect 2021 for AIESEC in Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be meeting you with the episode number 2 of the podcast session by Kadamandiya Food Bank, Ask from the Experts. From the episode number 2, we'll be meeting you. And Mr. Banuka Hathurusinghe, thank you very much for joining with us today for this session. Stay safe till the episode number 2.